Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe for the Believe Entertainment Network at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. A couple of games to go over today. Syracuse hosted Florida State at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, and then we'll talk about the mess that was yesterday. But first, we'll discuss Florida State and 94-86 win over them. A lot of production from Betsy off the bench, which was good, and something we lacked yesterday. They balanced scoring. Donnie Freeman, another 25. As I mentioned, Betsy with 18, Nathaniel George with 13 assists, which is awesome, and only 4 turnovers. I say only 4. But, offensive efficiency, they shot well. They attacked, and we talked about that. They're going to be better going to the rim, although this game was really close, like way closer than I thought it was going to be, pretty much from start to finish.
Right.
But, they were resilient after an early deficit, and they regained control and everything. So, again, with the defensive lapses, I think we talked about last game, and, 40% from 3 for FSU. And I don't know, spurts of just lackadaisical basketball, I guess, from Syracuse. And just some sloppy stretches. It gave up some easy stuff. And, it's going to happen. It's how you overcome, and they overcame. But, just as an aside, the consistency for Syracuse is tough. Now, they did score 94 points in regulation, which is pretty awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So, but they allowed 86. So, just being able to play a full game, a W is a W, dude. I don't want to hammer too much on the FSU game. I didn't think it was terrible, right? So
no, but it's starting to become a trend as far as other teams that are playing us, especially some of these teams that
don't normally
shoot well, and they're a little bit desperate. But it seems to me like these teams, they're driving to the rim and they're getting to the hoop. I mean, them scoring 20 points from the free throw line to R9. I think the saving grace in this was that they had 14 turnovers, just like we had 14 turnovers. So we eked this one out. But again, what's alarming is the defense. We talked earlier this year about this defense, when they're on their game, can keep teams in the 60s, and that'll give us a good chance to win. And that's starting to go away once we started the ACC play. And, maybe it's teams starting to figure out how to beat what was working for us earlier. But nonetheless, some of the teams, like the last 4 teams we played, aren't the best offensive teams, and probably some of the worst teams in the ACC.
They are.
They're scoring on us, so that's kind of becoming worrisome.
Yeah, any issue to take up with 27 free throws to 15 free throws? Because I didn't really.
I mean, again, it plays into the aggressiveness of how you're playing, right? I mean, we hit 11 threes. Betsy hit 6 of them. We were. That's the difference between a team that either forces shots trying to get a basket and they're not doing it correctly to get out to the free throw line, or a team that's just settling for jumpers and not moving the ball around. So to me, it just plays into the aggressiveness and to essentially what the team's trying to do. And Florida State was obviously trying to go to the hole, get to the free throw line, play aggressive, and try to get us in foul trouble. And it's starting to work against us no matter what team we play against.
Well, I think that throughout the non-conference, everybody knew that the best opportunity to eke out a win against maybe a superior team in Syracuse for some of these other, teams that we played was to put them on the foul line.
Right.
And, though we have done better, if I remember, I heard a stat during the game yesterday. It was like we were shooting, in the 50s or something, high 50s maybe from the free throw line.
It was like 62 in non-conference.
And then 74. Yeah. So in conference play. So, I mean, while Syracuse is improving with the free throws, we'll talk about it. It reared its head yesterday.
Yep.
So that's just that's going to be a strategy of teams to come. And by the way, I mean, when you talk about teams that aren't really super efficient or great scoring teams, and especially in the last two teams we played, they both scored a lot of points. And when you can't stop a team like that, it's just so confusing. It's just so confusing to me. And at the day, all I want is W's. So the Florida State game, you just chalk it up as, okay, well, they eked it out. I didn't like it, but they eked it out.
Yeah. Well, they eked it out. After the game, it moved us up to 65, and then throughout the week, based upon the other games that we're playing, I think we were 63rd in the net going into yesterday.
Yeah.
So, what we were talking about the past couple of weeks of going through these next 4 games, the status quo, after Florida State, it was looking like, all right, we go into Boston College, we take care of business, and maybe we can crack the top 60, right?
Yeah, and might as well just say it now, but dropped 12 spots after last night, which is less than I thought. But again, it puts us 2-2 in quad 3 games, and kind of talked about not allowing that to happen. So, with that said, let's listen to what Coach had to say following the loss to Boston College.
College made the plays that they needed to make, especially down the stretch in the second half. I thought they won the margins. They got the loose balls. They got the extra shots. And, they fought harder than us, which, I don't like to say that, but that's just the facts. I thought we let our offense impact our defense. They scored 81 points. We haven't given that up on the road in a while. But our level wasn't there. Our attention to detail was not there. And, we didn't finish the game the way we needed to finish the game. It's going to be close games like this all year, and we have to be able to come through and get those done and finish those. And we didn't do the job tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't do the job tonight. We've been in some. We've come out on the other end. Tonight, we did not come out on the other end, but I'm going to give credit to Boston College. They made the toughness plays. They made the plays that they needed to make to win the game, and we didn't.
Question for Coach. Adrian, you had 2 guys at 14 turnovers. I think you had 18 altogether. How big did that impact the game today?
That's the game. Those 2 guys, handle the ball the most. You can't win and beat anybody with 18 turnovers, right? Like 18 turnovers and the turnovers that led to points. And I thought that was the difference. The turnovers that we had, we just can't make those. We're better than that. We have to we got to take care of the ball. 18 turnovers is insane.
Future. What is it about this coaching staff and this team that you think can help us win behind them?
We have to. What are you going to do? You have to, right? We got a lot of great opportunities, right? And that's the thing that I told our guys in there. We're disappointed in this loss, but this season, it's a lot of season left. And we have a lot of great opportunities ahead of us, right? And the one thing I do know is at the end of the season, the only way you can try to do what you want to do is win games, right? And this year, we're very fortunate that our conference is very strong, all right? And so we got a chance to go out and win some games.
What gives you confidence that your team can go out and win those big games?
Because we've won more than we've lost. I believe in this group. We've had some big games. We've competed against teams of in bigger conferences. So I got nothing but belief in this team. All right, and like I told these guys, it's a whole season, and sometimes we don't always play well, right? How do we scrape out those wins? And we scraped out a couple. All right, today we fell short. All right, talent isn't enough, right? Talent is enough, and then sometimes you just don't learn when you're winning. We're dealing with young men, 21, 22. Again. It's not, you don't want to lose games, but we got to wake up and get back to how we were playing defensively, and I'm confident that if we do that, we'll be fine. Thank you.
Okay, so not great yesterday. They led a ton of this game, led it to half. They couldn't close it out. Obviously, this thing went into overtime, and I remember when. Boston College takes a couple 1-point leads, and it was a big deal to the broadcasters that they took a 1-point lead. Well, then it went to 2, and they're like, "Oh, this is their largest lead of the game."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, this is stupid. So anyway, I just thought it's just one of those things that just rubs me the wrong way. Nate King's 27 points. Excellent. 5 for 6 from 3. Donnie Freeman. Another double-double with 19 and 14. And, I think all in all, not a terrible offensive performance, except for being able to take care of the ball. I mean,
yeah,
this is at the stretch of the game and you're still turning the ball over is unbelievable to me. And the one freaking free throw that Donnie Freeman misses is the one he had to have. That was the game winning. That was the game winning shot. And
most likely.
And you're at the line. Even if you make just the one, that's a game winning shot, I believe, because what was his noggin? What the hell is that dude? Donald Hand. Shot that thing with hardly anything left on the clock. I mean, I know it was like 6 seconds, something like that. So
they still would have had to foul. They had to
right.
go back down to the free throw line.
Right. And plus, not only that, but that was a 1-and-1. So you got a shot at another one,
right.
And you feel like Donnie Freeman, that's the guy you want with the ball. And was it not him that turned the ball over too right before that? Unfortunately, I'm not trying to bag on him. Yeah. He's been great since he's come back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just that type of stuff at the end of the game is that was the game. I mean, if you want to take it as a whole, it's 18 turnovers, which is I don't even know how many points that led to. I couldn't find that stat. So I don't know if you have that.
Yeah, they had 22 points off of the 18 turnovers. We had 8 off of their 8 turnovers. So,
right. And just 11 steals. 11 steals. That's just being super sloppy with the ball, man. It's just it's not taking care of the ball. There's these lazy passes. It's kind of like this. You take it for granted that the team you're playing isn't going to play defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we talked about that last week. And it's just confusing to me, and the consistency is rough. They controlled the tempo very good in the beginning of this game. Looked like it was just going to be a runaway at the beginning of this game, and then like Coach said, these games are going to be close. However, I don't think that this game should have been close. And Coach said talent isn't enough, and he's right. I mean, you've got talented guys, but they've got to play smart. I mean, there's just a lot of errors being made, and this is kind of like we talk about. Well, you can't do that when you get into the ACC. Well, once we started conference play, we actually had like a pretty, I don't want to say easy, but the best possible
Favorable.
The most favorable games to start conference play. To get your legs underneath you and to be able to go out and get some more chemistry together, figure out rotations, figure out all of the little things that you need to figure out before the big boys come up. Well, that's over. And you lose against the worst team in the ACC, and now it's time for the big boys. So, is it going to be a switch that just flips? I doubt it. I don't think the Donald Hand shot at the end of the game, I'm not sure if there's much that could have been done about that. He hit 2
foul.
Well, foul. I was telling Dylan that. Like, why wouldn't they foul here? I don't understand. Like, before he even gets a chance to shoot. I mean, that's coaching. That's coaching. If you and I are sitting on the couch thinking of that, why didn't the players think of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's again, that's why I said when we were talking about the Florida State game, to where it seems like there's a recipe to be able to beat Syracuse, and if you just get on that page, then you'll be all right. Because, I mean, the difference between this game and the Florida State game was the fact that, the turnovers were closer, and we actually had like 25 points off turnovers. We had 24 fast break points. Yesterday, we had 8 points off turnovers, 6 fast break points. Obviously, we like to get out and run. That's where we score the easiest. Half-court offense isn't great for us. And a lot of one-on-one and other people ball watching and standing around is another thing that I noticed yesterday. I'm worried that, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nate King's, he was doing his thing driving, but when someone's doing good, like a Nate King's or like a Donnie Freeman who gets a post up around, the basket or the paint, that people are going to double team, people are going to look away from their defense, and that's the time when you're supposed to drive, or you're supposed to cut as a player, or move to the open spot on the 3-point line, like just things like that. It just seems like there's a lot of instances where certain people get the ball, and it just seems like that person is just tunnel vision into I'm going to shoot, right? And again, it's hard to bang on Donnie, 19 points and 14 rebounds, but the court awareness of seeing open guys and passing the ball, it's not there. So it's tough because he's going to have to pass out of those situations. Teams are going to start making it to where we got to stop Donnie Freeman, right? And that's the one thing that I saw. I mean, it was more or less Boston College played the same way that Florida State did, aggressive. Let's get to the free throw line. They had 21 out of 29 free throws, but they took care of the ball more than we did. To your point, we hit a couple free throws, we still win that game. We hit a couple free throws, and we only have, if we just match the 14 turnovers that we did last game against Florida State, then we're still winning that game by probably 8 or 9 points, right? So that was the ball game. And the other thing that kind of stuck out to me was, I don't know if there's a game in our schedule that we've played yet where we've only gotten 1 point out of Tyler Betsy and Kyan Anthony coming off the bench. That was another thing, is usually those guys are good to combine for at least, somewhere around 10, something like that, and get a little bit of offensive spark off the bench. But we only got 1 point from Kyan. We only got 1 point from Sadiq. And I don't know if you noticed this. I noticed it a little bit, but Sadiq White played 5 minutes in the first half off the bench, had 3 quick fouls, went to the bench. But then I also noticed him limping off the court, like during going into halftime.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
And he didn't play a minute in the second half. So there were a couple things that were just off and were a little odd. And it's just unfortunate that we let this one slip away, because we kind of were on a little bit of a run there, going to our status quo. And like I said, we were right there to be able to break, 60 in the net going into, a tougher part of our schedule.
Yeah. They're not doing themselves any favors, for sure. And there was a couple moments with Donnie trying to be the hero and getting in the paint area and kind of just getting sloppy.
Yeah.
And I understand, it's at the time I wish I took a mental note how much time was left on the clock, but it wasn't desperation time. I mean, they needed to do something, but it seemed like when they got into overtime, man, it was like they were just almost like they just lost the confidence in themselves to be able to do anything. And I think that when guys like Donnie, that's when they just pick up the ball and try to will the team to victory by themselves. And, at the end of the day, that's never going to work. But you could feel it and you could see it. I'm not saying they gave up. I'm just saying the confidence. Switch. Yeah, the momentum was just, it was gone. It just all of the air came out of that balloon, and it was you could see it. It was done. Their largest lead ended up being in overtime. I think how many points did we even score in overtime? 4?
9.
Was it 9? Okay.
They scored 17.
Yeah, that was that's crazy. Well, they came out with energy. There's the effort and the energy. I mean, unfortunately, you got to hand it to Boston College. I think Boston College sucks, but you got to hand it to Boston College for the effort that they gave yesterday in front of a very 50-50 crowd on their home court, right? And, and there was the shouts of always when they play in Pitt. This happens in Pitt, but this happens in Boston College a lot. The "Let's Go Orange" chants you can hear loud and clear when they play there. And they came out and they were the ones that had the effort. They had the energy. They got the loose balls, as Coach mentioned. They got all the extra shots, as you mentioned, Joe. They fought harder, and they won the game. I mean, sometimes it's just that.
Yeah, I mean, it's and to me, even when you take away, like Florida State scored 80-something in regulation, so if you want to talk about defense, last game against Florida State, defense let up a little bit. When you look at this game from the end of it and you see, 81 points from Boston College, but they scored 17 in overtime, which means they only had 64 in regulation. That's right where we want them to be.
Sweet spot, yeah.
Right? So realistically, yesterday to me had nothing to do with defense. Yeah, where there's some timely, do I want to see William Kyle get more than 4 rebounds?
Yes.
Yes. Did they get some timely offensive rebounds and some putbacks? Yes. But at the end of the day, I don't think it was the defense yesterday. I think it was just us not handling the ball well and a couple free throws. You just got to shoot. We shot 64%. They shot 72%. If we shoot their percentage, we win the game. If we have 3 or 4 less turnovers, probably win the game. I mean, that's just that was the game right there. And to me, it was on the offensive end. And at the end of the day, these teams are figuring out that we are not good. When it gets to half court, it's almost like it's one-on-one almost all the time. If we don't get turnovers and we don't get out in transition and they can slow us down to not get fast break points, then it's going to be tough for us to score. And when it's tough for us to score in the half court, then I feel like there's a little bit of discouragement to what Coach said, where sometimes it bleeds into your defense. But yesterday, I don't really think that was the case. I think that Boston College was super aggressive and trying to get to the free throw line, and the only reason that they were in the game was because of the turnovers and the points off the turnovers.
Let's head over to Twitter. Joe, you can check out Facebook. I did check. I try not to check these just because I think it's more fun for me. But I did check them early on yesterday after it was posted. And I was pretty pissed yesterday. Yesterday was a bad sports day, and I was pretty pissed after that Boston College game, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that I don't think we should lose that game. And the other part of it is that I just knew it was going to be coming, and just to take everybody and turn them around and bring them towards the center of the roof instead of the edge of it, we dropped 12 points in the net. We're at 75th in the net. I agree with Coach when he says there's a lot of opportunity. I personally think there's and I mean it's not like it's not happening, but there is legit criticism for the coaching in the loss of Boston College. And we could talk about that and bring up those points and some of the legit stuff, and like we mentioned earlier, not making sure your guys foul when the team's down by 3 with less than 30 seconds left on the clock is not smart, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At If Not Now When 84, too many turnovers and too many hometown calls to get any momentum. Donnie had 6 to 8 turnovers. Terrible loss. Might have killed our season unless we get some big wins down the stretch from some blue bloods. I'm sad and disappointed, but I do have hope. The conference tournament aside, there is, there's plenty of opportunity to get into the tournament. I'm not really frantic about the tournament right now, more so than I am just saving face and being competitive. You had a perfect opportunity to go out and win 4 in a row before heading into Virginia Tech, who's not going to be an easy out. And they just beat NC State, did they not? Or no, they beat Notre Dame.
Yep. Notre Dame.
So, I think, how many turnovers did Donnie have?
7.
And he did have 7. Okay. Yeah.
Donnie had 7 and Nate George had 7.
Yeah.
They had 14 of the 18.
Yeah, that's bad. Now, those guys are going to be handling the ball more, and I understand that, but you got to be more careful than that. Nathaniel George getting some. Go ahead.
That's too much.
It's way too much. You shouldn't have 14 turnovers for the whole team, let alone between 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nathaniel George has been extremely sloppy in the past few games, and I stuck up for him last week, but he's getting some pretty legit criticism on the ball handling end of things, and I don't know, you gotta it seems to me that being able to fix the turnover thing should be one of the easier things to fix. Probably easier so than free throws. By the way, just real quick, Syracuse is 358th in the country in free throw percentage at 62.7% out of 361.
Really?
Yeah. So behind us are South Carolina State, Maine, and App State. And then everybody else is ahead of us. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's not good. At EJ62564, I hate to add to the chorus, but Red does not seem to understand situational basketball. His challenge on the out of bounds call was foolish. That is a great point. It's not something we mentioned yet. That was foolish. Who was he listening to? If he's got an advisor on the line, they said he looked at an iPad. If he's got an advisor on the line, one of these guys the game managers that help out, they fed him some crappy information. Because that was as clear as it gets. I mean, just look at a replay. What a waste. Because then there was, a couple minutes later, there was what could have been a controversial call on a ball going out of bounds. And it looked like maybe if we could have slowed it down and seen some other angles of it, it wouldn't have been Boston's college ball. It could have been our ball. But either way, a way better challenge in that instance than the one where... who was it? Was it Nathaniel George or Nate? Who was it that stepped out of bounds? I can't remember. Anyway,
Nate George.
Okay. That was the out of bounds play there with the ball went out of bounds would have been a way better call on that. So that was a good point. Then he goes on. I get the whistle was late, but still. Yeah, the whistle was late.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But a little too quick, I think, to challenge. And I feel like they barely showed a replay before coaches calling for a challenge of that. At Cuse Fan 917, terrible loss, very questionable coaching calls, too much one-man offense at times. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to is when you see guys standing around. I remember there's a play, I think Nate Kings drove the baseline from one side of the court, from the baseline 3-point line, He drove baseline. Obviously, people stepped up, double team, and nobody moved. He ended up getting a turnover. I don't know if he stepped out of bounds or he threw it away, but nobody moved to try to get to an open spot for him to pass it to. So to me, there's just way too much one-on-one, not enough movement. And to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, I know Nate George has had 23 turnovers the last 4 games, and I know you can say that's unacceptable, but at the same time, I mean, a lot of times he's driving and there's not a lot of movement. So it's hard to just blame one person. But yeah, our half-court offense is not great right now.
Correct. At David Super, Buddy Dave, stunned resume killer. Oh, Lord, what a sick feeling. Yeah. It's not so much that we have to worry about the resume losses as we do. I think we have put it this way. It's not so much the losses right now as it is that they are going to have to beat some teams that they shouldn't.
Absolutely.
And there's still a lot of opportunity for that left. The next 2 games being the first 2.
A majority of the rest of our games are pretty much, other than I think the Pittsburgh game and possibly the Notre Dame game. Every other game that we have right now is either a quad 1 or a quad 2 left in the schedule.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to win the next few games. They're going to have to go on another run, and recency bias is a thing. They're going to have to go on another run where they string together some wins. Right. Clean up the turnovers, get better at the line. The bench has got to be better, which the bench hasn't been terrible. I mean, they scored 2 points last game. It just, I don't know how to.
They needed them yesterday.
Yeah, I know they needed them yesterday, and it didn't happen. But the bench has got to be better. They got to be able to finish these games, man. They got to be able to keep their leads. But when you get a lead, you've got to be able to keep it. You can't just be giving it up. And limiting 3-point shooting. These last 2 teams that we played are not like, they've been struggling. And this tends to happen where Syracuse just can't close out, or just defensively they're inconsistent, and they're just giving up way too many long shots. So I think that the resume is good right now, but they're not, I wouldn't say they're in like the most safe place to be. And
no. They're not. No. I mean, realistically, when you look at it, again, we know that the quad 1 and quad 2s, we've seen the movement of what a quad 1 game would be, right? I mean, I truly believe that after we beat Pittsburgh, it was a quad 2 win, but also a little bit of that had to do with Clemson moving up to, a quad 1, from a quad 2 loss to a quad 1 loss, like that helped us too, right? So it's a situation where realistically you beat Boston College like you did yesterday, right? Like, let's just say we were 63rd, beat Boston College. Well, maybe we move up to 60, maybe 59 or something like that. Now, if yesterday we were 63 and we played at Duke and lost, we probably would have moved up to the 50s already, right? So depending on what the quad is, obviously depends on what the movement is. So, we have a lot of quad 1 games left in which we're not going to get penalized that much, even if we do lose it. It's just obviously we need to win these games to make up for those 2 quad 3 games.
Seems to be that the net is, it's more reasonable right now, I feel like.
Either more reasonable or we're just starting to understand it a little bit better. Maybe it's making a little bit more. Even if it doesn't make sense, we're understanding it.
Yeah, I think it's more reasonable.
No, maybe.
Yeah, I think that at this point last year, if you take the same situations and throw them into last year's algorithm, I feel like we're not at 75. Be happy we're at 75. For everybody that is freaking out about the whole season being gone, there's and trust me, I jumped in that. I jumped in that and had fun with it yesterday to make myself feel better. Just self-loathing and feeling bad for this team. But, the truth is that you can lose that game regardless of where they sit in the ACC, and you can still make the tournament. So we conference tournament aside, like I said, there's still there's plenty of games left, right, Joe?
Right. And to that point of it, right? I mean, you look at it right now. 14 of the 18 ACC teams are ranked in the top 80. 13 in the top 75, 12 in the top 70, 11 in the top 60. Like, this is a different league than in the past couple of years. So that's also a situation where I think we have to understand, too, that, and what I mean by understanding the net is that last year it didn't make sense to us because we weren't moving as much because there wasn't that many quad 1, quad 2 opportunities. This year, it's a stronger league. So when you put it in perspective, everyone wants to look at, Hofstra's what killed us. And yeah, maybe as far as non-conference goes, but when we came out of the non-conference, we were 90th, 93rd in the net. And then since then, we're 3-2 in the ACC, and we're 75th. Right? So we're still up 15 to 18 spots than when we were at the end of non-conference, and we're 3-2. And the rest of our games are basically against teams that are above us in the net, except for Notre Dame. There's 3 spots behind. We're 75th. They're 78th. So when you look at it, there's plenty of opportunity. So it's a little bit of a different year this year. And like I said, I think that there's going to be some teams when we move forward, like Duke's number 2 in the net. Like, we're not going to move backwards playing a number 2 at Duke, right? We're still going to move up even if we lose that game. Unless we lose by 30.
I think, right. I was just going to say you have to keep it competitive.
Right.
Yeah. And even, I'll tell you this. If we win at Boston College yesterday and we win by 3 in overtime, it's just, we're going to be
probably
lucky
not
to hold steady. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At Keller 0103, I heard mumblings of an old timer living in Syracuse who has a great basketball mind. Boeheim, I think his name was. Wonder if he'd be interested. We did that. Jim, I haven't heard. Coach Boeheim was all over the ACC network last year. I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's not there, but I haven't seen him.
Yeah, me either.
So, he had some awkward moments, and I don't think that's the reason, but he's old. He's so old. And unfortunately, he aged since he retired, and that happens to a lot of people like that, but he's in his 80s now, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, while I have more respect for Jim Boeheim than I do most people in sports in general, especially coaches.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. At Up Top Cuse, Reds substitutions are mind-boggling. Here's me when I watch a game. I pay very little attention to that. Sometimes I don't pay a ton of attention to that. And I'll admit it. I'm not good at being like, well, what's our lineup right now? Well, this is why. I just don't get that analytical about it when I'm watching it. I could look back on it and maybe see some things, but and more power to the people who do that. I know you're one of those guys. So, you tell me, Joe, substitutions mind-boggling? If you look, go ahead.
I was just saying, I just think that it's. I think it's a situation where, to me, it just doesn't look like he still has. This is the only way that I can really make sense of it. Is that you figure that by this time you kind of know your lineups, your substitutions, who's going to play what kind of minutes, and I think that it's kind of all over the place. Is really what it comes down to.
It's kind of sloppy. I understand leaving Betsy in. He didn't do much of anything. A couple rebounds, but he had such a good game against Florida State. You want to leave him in there and see if he can catch fire, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, and then we know what happened to Sadiq White, and he only played Kyan Anthony and Soare after that. So
right, we're pretty much that's the 9 that they're going to play. So
yeah.
I got Facebook got 20 comments, but a lot of them are all kind of the same, and I'll kind of just roll through that.
Go ahead.
This guy, John, file under...
This guy, John.
Sorry, John Newman.
Okay.
Says, file under when we hire the wrong guy. Dan says, there goes our tournament hopes. Hashtag fire red. Autry needs to go. One of the best guards to play at Syracuse, but just isn't a good, competent coach for this level of play. Fire Autry. Hashtag fire red. Mm-hmm. New coach. Autry should be fired now. He's a terrible coach. Tournament hopes be gone. Fire Autry. Pathetic loss. Fire red. Horrible game. And Michael had a comment off of a hashtag fire red that it kind of goes with your last comment. It says, yes, there are without signing nuts, there are 30 other coaches who would do a better job with this roster. You cannot put out this kind of product. A loss to Hofstra and now a really bad Boston College team. He does not know how to make proper subs. Nate George has the most turnovers since ACC play started in the final 2 minutes of games, but still constantly has the ball at the end of every game. It's nuts.
Who was that? And then Michael, is that
No, and it said Michael Pelicano knew.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Ted says Syracuse thought they could just show up and blow BC out, but BC's actual talent showed up and won the day. I feel like with Georgia's last few games, they need to seriously consider shrinking his minutes. He's basically asleep at the wheel, and when he wakes up, he turns the ball over and goes back to sleep. The ACC is challenging this year. Quad 1 wins. Opportunities are ahead of you now. Go get them. So, it seems to me like, there's the substitutions, there's the fire red, there's a lot of, George, not being able to take care of the ball. I know I got a text yesterday, I'm not going to say from who, but it essentially said, George is the cancer we lost because of his play, period. So, yeah. It's tough, but also there's a lot of recency bias with that, I think, as well, because, like you said, Donnie did make worse plays at the end of the game, forced up worse shots at the end of the game.
It's hard to just lay it at his feet, but those things happened. Like, those were back-to-back plays. The turnover and then the missed foul shot. The only foul shot he missed all day were almost back-to-back.
Yeah. And then, even the last 5 minutes, he still had a couple other ones. So they both had 7 turnovers, but when one guy is the point guard and has only 2 assists and 6 points, and the other guy is your power forward who had 19 points and 14 rebounds, then it's kind of easier to point the blame on another one,
Yeah. Syracuse as a team, I can't find it as an individual stat, but Syracuse as a team is 131st in turnovers, and they are at 11.4 a game just as a team. But number 1 is Northwestern. Just to give you an idea, they're at 8.4. So I can't find it as an individual stat. But anyway, let's see. Our buddy Nadal, only reason we beat Georgia Tech was because they shot 18% from 3, many of those open. I hate to say anything bad about Freeman, so I won't. I'll just say that when you're coached by garbage and you have to play with garbage on your team, it's hard to make something smell like roses.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Let's say the only reason we beat Georgia Tech was because they shot 18% from 3. Well, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
There's always going to be one of those things where it's like, well, the only reason we beat this team is because we scored more.
Yeah.
Or they scored less, or whatever, right? But
no.
Yeah, here's the point of Nadal's comment is the frustration level, because Boston College is hot garbage. They are, and we lost to them. It's embarrassing. That was the text I got. That was embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. Especially it's one thing to be in town and you go and everybody's feeling the same thing. But when you don't live in town, like if you're living, where you live, especially, but even where I live, which is, a lot of the same type of fans, you're just living in it. it's embarrassing. We both live in states that are highly ACC clouded fan bases, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's embarrassing. So if you think it's embarrassing when you live in Syracuse, at least you don't have to see Virginia Tech fans or UVA fans or North Carolina fans or NC State fans or Duke fans or Wake Forest fans, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that gets tough and it gets frustrating. It's hard to just talk to those people with a smile on your face like it doesn't bother you, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. I think that part of it, obviously, it's the fact of the frustration of the fan base and just obviously our recent history of not making the tournament, right? And the fact that we've seen us make the run, move up to 60 something in the net, see like that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we just got to win the ones that we're supposed to get, and then we don't, right? So that's I think where the frustration comes from. But realistically, these lower level teams, they've played some of these teams. You look at some of these teams. I mean, Georgia Tech and Florida State, I think, played Duke pretty well. Georgia Tech just went to NC State and won yesterday. We went on the road and beat Georgia Tech. So there's going to be games like this that you lose. I just think that we need to understand that, you get a quad one win and that pretty much just erases what just happened, right? So, again, the season's not over. Although I have two more comments in which one thinks it is and the other one doesn't. So I'll start with the negative one. And Zach says, boys, I haven't been this mad over a Syracuse loss in a long time. Unconscionable turnovers, almost as if they were throwing the game. I don't know what to say, just livid. NCAA tournament hopes are gone, barring a conference chip, which is definitely an overreaction. Not usually a guy who calls for the head coach's job, but highlight this game is the one that tipped it over the edge for a lot of onlookers.
And
then he says, go Bills, which... Yeah.
We don't think we need to go there either.
No, we don't, but
that's a whole nother episode right now. But I will say this, though. I went into Wegmans in Virginia Beach yesterday. The place was mobbed with Bills fans. Just mobbed. It was actually really cool. There's a ton of Bills. I mean, I'm not exaggerating at all when I say I saw between 15 or 20 Bills fans walking around Wegmans. Mostly,
really?
Yes, mostly in the craft beer section. But yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So,
well, I will say that I don't know if you watch ESPN or whatever, but I was falling asleep watching ESPN, and at the end of ESPN they put up a weird kind of stat yesterday where they showed that the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, and Buffalo men's college basketball team, all three of those teams lost in overtime yesterday. So wasn't a great day for the city of Buffalo.
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
Yeah.
Wasn't a great day for us either.
No, definitely
Boston,
not.
Yeah, well.
Upstate New York, realistically.
Upstate New York had a rough day, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of those fans are one and the same.
Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right. So last one I got, it's my positive one. Top fan Mahir.
Oh, yeah.
He says, this is not a season-ending loss. I don't like red either, but tons of opportunities left on the schedule. That being said, Donnie and Nate cannot have 7 turnovers each. Completely unacceptable. Kings was hot and didn't get enough touches, in my opinion. I agree with that. And JJ needs to step up and be a better leader. Season is not over.
I agree with everything there. And I agree with the JJ comment. I think it's hard when you have that much talent on your team to lead sometimes, because there's a lot of really good players on a team, and being a leader doesn't mean you have to be good. Just means you have to be you have to be. It's a character driven trait. So
right.
So you it is easy probably for someone like JJ to be not intimidated, but to kind of take a back seat when you got that many talented players on a team. I don't know. It's just difficult, right? So,
well,
I mean,
it's frustrated for me because to me, like, and I know that we spoke last podcast, and then I was speaking about Boston College about how I was worried about their guards because their guards, Hand and Payne were the main guys, right? And it's just hard to sit here and watch some of these guards, from these teams that are kind of the bottom of the conference, penetrating to the hole and either, being aggressive and going to the line or kicking it out for a 3-point shot. And you got Nate George and you got JJ Starling, and they're not doing it, I don't think you need to be a leader to be aggressive, right? I don't think you need to be a leader to say, okay, I'm going to try to get this guy in foul trouble. Because if you're not aggressive and you're settling for jumpers, like it seems like JJ is doing more this year, like then you're just inviting the team to stay aggressive.
In basketball, a good leader is going to be able to rally the troops. He's going to be someone that's going to smack a lot of asses and pump people up. And he's going to be someone that's going to keep the morale high and the energy high on the court.
Right.
And if you get in a situation where you can't do those things and take care of your own game, I mean, you're focused on your game. And
right.
It's not easy. It's very difficult to be a leader on a basketball team like this one. Because there's a lot of potential guys. I mean, you've heard the saying, what the hell is it? Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians?
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those things. It's like, you just don't know the dynamic.
Well, and that's what it seems like, right? At the end of the day, and that's what I spoke about our half-court offense, is that you have to play like a team. You have to be able to get everybody involved. Players have to think that if they do move without the ball or they cut or they do these extra things, that they're going to be able to get an opportunity to get the ball. But sometimes it just seems like it's just one-on-one basketball, to one of the commenters on Twitter. And, in a game like yesterday, Nate Kings had 27. He probably could have had 40. Like, when you have somebody that's on one like that, then you have to give them the ball. This isn't he's getting his, so now I got to get mine, right? Like, you use those situations and those mismatches until the other team changes it. And then you find the other mismatches, right? And people start double teaming, people start cutting, opens up the floor. That's kind of how you got to work that thing, right? And if the teams are being too aggressive to where you can't get to your spots, then guess what? You have to drive and you got to get fouled. Make them be less aggressive, because players start getting in foul trouble and now they got to stop being as aggressive. So there's strategies in a half-court offense. And you don't need to run sets every play, or you just need to know how to play as a team, share the ball, and move to the open spots and be aggressive. And too many times we just either force a bad shot or just take or settle for a jumper. And that's just not working. And we sit here and we watch other two teams do the exact opposite, like yesterday and like Florida State. They're not great shooting teams, but they were aggressive and they kept going at the hoop, got to the free throw line, and guess what? Inevitably, that ended up making us be less aggressive, and it opened up 3-point shots that they ended up hitting later in the game to make the games closer. Or in this case, for Boston College, take us into overtime and win the game.
Right. I just got a couple more, and then we'll wrap up. At Dave Donovan 44, Wild Hack and Autry ain't it. I've had my reservations about Wild Hack for a while. And I think that's, if you've listened for any amount of time, So that's why I chose that one. At Capital Orange, with this level of talent, it's time to get a real coach. Oof, being an assistant for Jimmy B doesn't mean you're a good coach by yourself. What a horrible hire. Last one from Twitter, at Mike S 748555165. Real quick, hold on, I'm sorry. He says, the worst coaching job of any hoops game in Cuse history. It started in the warm-ups and visibly pretty much through the whole game. No fire, no killer instinct. Really, really bad. The ACC network production quality was as bad as I have ever seen. Whole day was ruined by the combo of the two. We talked about, what game was it that we talked about, like one of the very sloppy games that Syracuse played recently in non-conference play. That was one of those ones that really had our butts puckered, right? Was it Northeastern?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. This was sloppier than that, in my opinion. So it was the sloppiest game they've played all year. And you can't play like that and expect to win. Plain and simple. So until this gets better, until this team strings together some wins, until this team beats big, powerful opponents and stops losing games they should win, which, I mean, you look at the slate, like Joe, you mentioned, I mean, none of these are a gimme anymore until you get back to Pitt, the last game of the season. And I don't even know if that's a gimme. I'm just saying, out of the ones in front of us, you know, that's the last one of the season is the one that is going to be the easiest. So until this team does all of those things, Coach Autry is going to be just lambasted.
Right.
And if you keep losing, it's only going to get worse. And I mean, we're going to be in a situation where when we come here and we talk, that's going to be the elephant in the room every time. And to be honest with you, like, I get it, but at that point, this just doesn't become fun. And not because I don't agree or because I don't think it's legit, but it's what the team is doing, not so much the criticism of it, right? So things can, people, the recency bias they talk about. We as fans have recency bias. We can overlook all these things if they can overcome some of these, if they can come out and win some of these games and maybe steal a couple that they shouldn't and ruin other people's days. We can forget this terrible loss against Boston College. There was another stat I heard in the last 7 years, Boston College has beat Syracuse one other time or something like that. So, like, we've owned Boston College in basketball for 7 years plus. I mean, really, historically speaking, we've owned Boston College. So, Anyway, okay. On to the next couple of games. I just got a couple of things. I'm not going deep. As I mentioned, Virginia Tech, they did squeak out a win against Notre Dame yesterday. They didn't really squeak it out. It actually looked... They handled that game pretty good. Notre Dame they were just having a hard time putting them away.
Right.
So, 3-3 in the ACC with wins against Notre Dame, as I mentioned, California. Oh, I'm sorry. They're 2-4. No. And Virginia. I'm sorry. They're 3-3. Losses against Wake Forest, Stanford, and SMU. They have length and they're athletic. I mentioned closeouts and on shooting, and this isn't a terrible shooting team. So, and I feel like, for the past couple of years that Virginia Tech has kind of been struggling. They're shooting 34.6% from three, which isn't awful. So I think the intensity and the way that Syracuse controls the pace on offense, like you mentioned, Joe, just getting up court and just running is going to be the keys for them to be successful. I don't want them sitting around in half court offense because, like I said, you've got some athletic guys with length on Virginia Tech, and the obvious. Don't turn the freaking ball over. Hit your freaking free throws. The coaching isn't like great. I feel like you're gonna have a decent game plan, and I think that there needs to be more energy out of these coaches. When I watched them yesterday, the last couple minutes of that game, I was not impressed with the energy. I mean, you're a coach. You should not be sitting down. You should not be sitting down. You should be standing up. You should be screaming. And, just have to clean it up. I mean, it's fundamental stuff too. That's the thing that's frustrating. It's like, no one's going to say some high IQ, high basketball IQ or high sports IQ stuff to tell you how Syracuse can win. It's all the easy shit stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's go. So, they do have kind of a stud in Amani Hansberry. Leads in points and rebounds. and he's a forward, so he's going to be a problem. And he actually shoots 30% from three too. So
yeah,
pretty good.
That was what I was going to say. I looked at Virginia Tech a little bit, and they've only played 3 true road games. They did beat South Carolina earlier in the ACC SEC Challenge, but as far as an ACC play, the 2 away games that they have had, they did lose, but they were close games. So Hansberry and then Toby Lawal, I looked at their box score from yesterday. They were their main guys. I mean, their guards can shoot threes, but Hansberry and Lawal, good thing about them is they're only about 6'8", 6'9". It's not like they're a 7 foot. So it's around the same size as a Donnie Freeman and a William Kyle. But the difference between, we saw them kind of get a little bullied around yesterday a couple times by some guys from Boston College down low. And these next 2 games, that's kind of what they're like. Yeah, Virginia Tech's got some length with the guards, but they play a smaller lineup. But I mean, Hansberry, to your point, he had 21 points and 6 rebounds. He shot 9 of 9 from the free throw line yesterday. And Lawal off the bench had 22 points and 11 rebounds, and he actually shot 14 of 18 from the free throw line. So their 2 big men shot 27 free throws yesterday. So as far as Virginia Tech's concerned, they got an inside-outside game. And they basically played everyone pretty tough. So the only thing we really got going for us is it's a home game, and they haven't played up to par or what they usually have like on the road. But there's only been 2 or 3 games. Miami is also a little bit similar. I don't think they don't really play too many big guys. I mean, I know they got a guy. Malik Renault is around the same size as 6'9", 238. And then they also got a guy, Shelton Henderson, who's 6'6", 240. He's 240 at 6'6". So he moves some people around down low as well. So
while Miami is probably at just on the outside looking in at the top 25. They've only lost 3 games. Every single one of them was to a ranked team.
Was to a ranked team, exactly. And they went on the road and beat Ole Miss, and they went on the road and beat Wake Forest, and went on the road and beat Notre Dame. Albeit since they've started ACC play, I mean, at Wake Forest is a decent win, but Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, they've kind of had a similar schedule with losing at Clemson yesterday by 10. But yeah, I mean, they also got Udo, who comes off the bench as well, who's 6'11". So they got some size. And I think both of these teams are very, very similar. Miami technically right now is 30th in the net. So that right now, obviously by next Saturday, it might not be the same. But right now, that's going to be a quad 1 game at home. Yeah, but Virginia Tech being at 53, that Virginia Tech game, that's a quad 2 game at home. So both these games are quad 2 home games. And, this week is definitely a week where they're neither winnable games, but they're obviously very losable games if we want to turn around and have 18 points and shoot 62% from the free throw line. So we're going to have to play better, but, we win these 2 games. And, I mean, I believe we'll probably be right back to where we probably should have been last week, right? So
I think it does a lot of healing in the community if Syracuse can go out and win these 2 games. And, we got obviously another 9:00 game, and it's a freaking Wednesday.
9:00 on Wednesday for
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
So
and then another Saturday 2 p.m. for Miami.
Is there really that much going on a Wednesday? That game's got to be on at 9:00 on the ACC network. What the hell's their lineup? What's going on in the ACC network on Wednesday? I mean, I'm. It's a rhetorical question because I'm not going to go research it right now. But I'm just saying, is it women's basketball? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that ever since the Clemson game we've gone through, we're trying to look at it obviously as a 2 games a week, but I've been kind of looking at it as like blocks of 4, right? And the first 4 would have liked to go 4-0, especially considering that 3 of those were quad 3 games and 1 was quad 2. Now we're moving into the next 4, in which now instead of 3 games being away, 3 games are home. So we got to hold home court. But obviously, moving into these next 4 games, you got a quad 2 at home, you got a quad 1 at home, and then at NC State, which is going to be a quad 1, and then Notre Dame at home, which would technically be a quad 2, I believe, if they're 78th. Quad 2 or quad 3, I don't know. So even the next 78th. 4,
so that's 70, a quad 3 game at home.
Yeah, so a quad 3 Notre Dame at home. So like the next 4 games is, again, if we go 3-1, then I think we're trending in the right direction. But again, these next 4 games are still, they're a step up from the last 4 that we've played. But then the 4 after is going to be, especially considering right after that we go to North Carolina and 2 Virginia. These blocks of 4 or 2 games, they're getting more difficult. So, me realistically, I feel like we need to go 2-0 this week. If we don't, then we definitely need to go 2-0 the week after. But as an SU fan, you gotta at this point, you gotta kind of win them all until you start talking about going to North Carolina and Virginia and Duke and stuff like that. So these next 4 are very winnable.
Just look on the schedule and see which ones you're probably going to lose. You have to win the other ones.
Well, we're going to have to get one that we're supposed to lose, right?
I know, but if you're gonna just be very simple about it, that's the simplest way to be. And while NC State isn't ranked, they're freaking dangerous.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Yeah. So another team that's probably just on the outside looking in at the top 25.
Yeah,
they're really good. So, yay. Okay.
Yay for, I know it's hard to be enthusiastic, right? As a Syracuse fan, and especially since most Syracuse fans are probably Buffalo Bills fans too. After yesterday, it's hard to be optimistic today, right? But hopefully there is something to, what Red said as far as, you don't lose, sometimes you don't
learn
from winning, which again, I don't want to make that sound like a cop out because no one likes to lose, but this might be the kick in the butt that they need to put the run together that we know that they need to have, right?
That's quite possible. If that's not going to do it, then nothing will, because that's going to be the worst team you play all year. Right. Conference team.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that will do it for us. I appreciate all of you who are still here, even listening, and can hear my voice right now. Look, it's not as bad as it seems on social media, okay? So just remember that. There's a lot of games left. We will be back here probably next Monday. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.